So you graduate, you go to become, I think was it the second overall pick in the WPF, I
Yeah.
believe, right? Which is amazing. You played there for a year with the Texas Smoke, won a championship. How was that experience? Kind of the first experience to pro softball. What was that like?
It was cool to get paid to play. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Fresh out of college, where you got your stipend, but you paid rent and all these things, and then now you're getting like your first big check. I was like, this is awesome. But to be honest, it was really, really, really hard going from college and then straight into a 3-month season professionally, where professionally, like that year, we played almost every day.
Yeah.
In the scorching hot Texas weather. And like obviously so grateful for the opportunity, and I wouldn't have it any other way, but like playing for 6 months, and at this point, like going into my 5th year, I had been playing nonstop, because in the summers I would play with USA, and then we'd start fall, and fall is intense workouts, and so I was just on the go. And then I got to pro softball, and I was like, bruh, this is a lot. My body hurts. I got like 50% of my juice in the tank. Yeah. But I think that's a cool thing too about just playing, is you don't have to be at 100% all the time. It's just like knowing where you're at. And I performed well, not my best, but I did perform well, and we won.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I was like, we finished the season. I was like, woohoo.
Did any of that kind of play? Because they have a longer season than AUX, right? So, and I'm going to have you explain all that, the AUX and then the new league. I think they're SL, right? And I'd like you to kind of walk me through that. But what were some of the factors of maybe wanting to switch from? Because I'm sure you had the opportunity to go back to the WPF, but what made you want to make the switch over to the AUX?
Yeah, I think just playing where it's the best of the best. And I know a lot of the girls, they play for different national teams and things like that. And there's super talented players in both leagues. But for me, with where I was at, I felt like for a minute, I kind of like plateaued a little bit. And that's not here nor there. It's just kind of like transferring. It's like my own personal, like, dude, something has to change. And there's things without, like, out of my control, like higher up outside of softball, that I was like, dude, this is not okay. Yeah. You see a big surge in women's sports and just fighting for certain things. And that was very much.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah.
Do you mind elaborating on that? I mean, if you don't, you don't have to.
Of course. And now this is like getting to be a known thing. So I bet I
have it in my notes. So for us to talk about.
Yeah. But basically this past season, I didn't play with the WPF this past season, but there was like a scenario where like players weren't getting paid on a certain team, and they were fresh out of college. You don't have a big girl job yet, and they're struggling for groceries and things like that. And recently some of those girls came out and spoke about it, which is awesome, because not a lot of people know what goes on. Oh, do you have it pulled up? Awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to get your opinion on this.
Sorry, I'm like yapping about.
No, this is 100%. I think it's important to talk about. So do you have any other insight on this, or just, I mean, are you friends with anyone that is kind of going through this a little bit right now? Obviously, this is not the team that you played on, so this is not the Smoke, but it did happen in the league. It looks like it's happening in the league that you were in. Were you aware of this stuff before, like you decided to go into the other league, where you kind of knew some things like this were happening within other teams?
Not this problem specifically, but I was aware that I didn't believe in the foundation that was being laid for that league to thrive.
League as a whole.
Yeah, and then I've heard nothing but amazing things about AU, and you've seen it in their numbers and viewership and contracts that they're doing something right. And I think in the past there's been a lot of efforts to make professional softball work, and it hits the fan almost every time. And I always say, like, I feel so much for the legends of softball who, like, some of them had just retired, like Haley McClinney, and just like wanting to see kind of the fruits of their labor thrive. Like, softball players deserve a professional softball league. You know what I mean? And
why do you think a lot of the efforts have failed over the years? Do you think there's a reason why? Is there something specific why you think?
I think that I don't know if people are going about it in like an organic, like we want to grow the game of softball way. It's always about money, which I understand as a business, but for anything to like thrive, you want to build a good foundation, right? If the foundation is faulty, it's not going to work. And I think in all of the efforts that have failed, like there hasn't been a good foundation, like a good plan to make it not about this one person who's like investing the money. It's about the players.
Right, getting the return on the investment, the business people trying to get the return on the investment versus having maybe the more long-term goals. If this is where we want to be in 5-10 years, willing to kind of take the lumps and bruises in the beginning just to get to where they need to go. And I don't, again, you have a more personal experience with this, but it seems like the AU is really growing a ton and is, I mean, talking even about pay and just like really making it a much better experience and something that could grow. I mean, even just the fact that they're going to the AUSL, right? And that is basically a more long-term season, similar to what the WPF was doing, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So it'll be more traditional, like with teams instead of like, because right now it's the draft.
Right. Yeah. Could you explain to me how that, because I tried to like understand it. If someone explains to people, I need like a fully breakdown of what the AUX truly is and how it works.
Yeah. So basically it's based on like a point system. Okay. So if your team wins, that's a lot of points. But like if you get a single, it's plus 10 points. If you get a double, plus 20. And pitchers get points for, I can go about that for days. But it's a point system. And every week there's 4 captains. The captains are the leaderboard, like the people up there in the leaderboard. And they choose their team. They kind of build it fantasy league style. And then you play a series and then whoever's the captains the next week, they do it again, and yeah, it's fun.
Did you like that type of like I guess structure, like where you're playing with different girls each week? Because you play that full week with that group, right? And then the following week you would switch it up, they draft again, and then do it. Did you like that?
I did. I did like it. Yeah, it was fun, especially because it was a short time period, so it's not like this was going on for months and months. Of course, you want to have one team where you can like build those relationships and stuff, but the cool thing about AU is you get those opportunities to like gel with people, and even if you're not on the same team, you can still like hang out, whatever. But I think there's pros and cons. Of course, we love traditional softball, but it also made it quick, fast paced, and
it's almost like I mean, in college I remember, like fall ball, at the end of fall ball they'd like split the team and you do like a series against each other, and it's like you're all on the same team, but you're like, it was like a serious series and you wanted to win that, almost like something like that, which is kind of a fun concept. Are you going to do the AUSL as well as the, okay, you're going to do both. So how long is that going to be for summer for you? How does the timeline work?
I think it'll be about a little over 2 months. It'll be the AUSL season, and then they're going to keep doing the regular AU non-traditional form. And it'll be called the champ season. So those still, because originally AU, I think, had the mindset of being like an all-star league kind of setup. But so I think that's the vision now that we're getting there.
Back on just this real quick, and I just want to, and then we'll close it out. But some of the girls that are kind of going through this with the WPF and that one team, has there been any progress as far as them getting what they were owed?
I'm not sure on that, but I do know a lot of people are talking about it, and a lot of different people are like starting to voice their concern, which is good, because that's the first step, is just talking about it.
Absolutely.
To get that recognition. So I think they're heading in a right direction to get what they deserve.
Yeah,
but
well, that's good. I hope they do, for sure. I mean, for sure. Do you think there could be 2 successful professional softball leagues going on at the same time, or do you think it needs to be one?
I think it needs to be one. I think like maybe there could be different forms, like kind of a summer ball sort of vibe where like maybe some college athletes come and play. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I do know like the softball players need to be in the same league for it to thrive. Like we can't keep going.
Right, because I'm sure there are some really great players, obviously in the WPF that would also thrive in the AU, you know, and you know, almost if you want the best of the best, you got to have, you know, maybe one league could do that. Yeah, it's interesting. It's exciting to see just the growth, though. Yeah. I mean, I think I looked up something with the AU last year, 2020. I want to say 2022. They had like an increase in like 70-something% in their viewership, and then from 22 to 23. It was like another 38% increase. I mean, that's big. That's really, really big. And I would imagine all that would result in better pay, more advertisers wanting to get involved in it and everything like that, which would just really continue to help grow the game. You know, I think, I didn't have this to talk about this, but I mean, I think if that's like what's happening in the WNBA right now, essentially, you know, right? You know, Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese, all these girls, like all of a sudden, and now all of a sudden it's becoming mainstream when the WNBA has been around for a long time and it wasn't really mainstream beforehand.
Right.
Like, but it feels like softball is starting to get that momentum a little bit as well.
For sure. And I think the cool thing is, especially with some of the veterans, like older girls, they're so badass in that they're willing to fight for what is deserved. And they're like, look, even if we're not going to play next year or whatever, like this needs to happen.
That's cool.
And I think that's such a big thing. And you see it, like you mentioned with WNBA and soccer. And there's so many women's leagues that are like starting to get the money they deserve, the means that need to be provided for them to like be able to continue playing. And the biggest thing is just standing up for like what we deserve and not just being grateful for the opportunity. Like, of course we're grateful for the opportunity, but some people were playing for like $1,000 playing for 3 months, you know, like that's insane.
Yeah. That's
insane. Yeah. Being told like, well, be grateful that you have the opportunity to play professionally. And it's like, what? What? That's insane. But anyways, I think the conversations that are being had is amazing and heading in a better direction.
Definitely. If you enjoyed that clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the full podcast, click right here. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you find this content valuable.